The path forward has been set, and retreat is no longer an option. When I reached her, the tension in my psyche became even more intense. What if I have interpreted things incorrectly? What if her heart dances to a different tune? Welcome to Emotional Love Stories. I'm Ethan, 38 years old. Today I will tell you a very interesting story that I know will definitely bring you new and interesting emotions. Don't forget to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments section, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest stories. Wishing you enjoyable, relaxing moments. Thank you. One fateful evening, I reached out to invite a girl over for a night of fun, but to my surprise, it was my friend's mom who arrived at my door instead. Let me tell you, it was one of those nights when everything felt just as it should, at least from my perspective. After a long week, the weekend arrived like a breath of fresh air, beckoning me to unwind and embrace the moment. On a tranquil evening, with a few drinks in hand, perhaps a sprinkle of merriment, all in good spirits, nothing too heavy. So I thought to myself, why not invite a girl over? A swift search on my phone, and just like that, I was ready to go. I wasn't seeking anything profound, merely a companion to share the evening with. A familiar face from a service I had engaged with previously, purely a matter of business, devoid of personal ties. There I was, caught in the web of solitude, yearning for the warmth of companionship to brighten my days. With a swift exchange of words, a message was sent and a reply came back in no time. Soon enough, the details were all arranged. In just an hour's time, she would arrive. Ah, the moment has arrived, just as it should. After a brisk shower, I slipped into something cozy and settled in, eagerly anticipating her arrival. As I poured myself a drink, a wave of excitement washed over me, stirring the air with possibilities. What I anticipated to be an ordinary evening took an unexpected turn when the doorbell chimed, breaking the stillness of the night. Her arrival caught me off guard, a surprise that hinted at her eagerness to step into the unfolding tale. As I cast my eyes upon the clock, time seemed to whisper its secrets. It arrived precisely when it was meant to. As I turned the handle and pushed the door wide, anticipation danced in my heart. But the moment it creaked open, I found myself rooted to the spot. Before me stood a figure, yet she was not the woman I had been exchanging messages with. No, it was a different soul altogether, a figure I hadn't anticipated, a presence that took me a moment to truly see. It was Sophia, the mother of my closest companion. I blinked twice, ensuring that my eyes weren't deceiving me. What brought her to this place? Well, hello there, Sophia. I stumbled over my words, caught in a whirlwind of disbelief. What brings you to this place? She smiled, a warm and inviting smile that appeared perfectly ordinary at first glance. Yet the circumstances surrounding it were anything but typical. It was as if a dream had materialized, her figure framed in the doorway, casting an enchanting spell over the moment. "Hello, Lucas," she said, her voice steady and serene. Yet there was an elusive spark in her eyes that intrigued me. As fate would have it, I found myself wandering through the neighborhood and decided to pay a visit, curious to see if there was anything you might require. Thoughts swirled in a whirlwind within me. Confusion enveloped me as I tried to grasp the unfolding events. As the events played out before me, my heart raced, each beat echoing the confusion swirling in my mind. Sophia was a woman unlike any other. She was the mother of Jake, the very same Jake who had been my closest companion since our childhood days. Yet this encounter was far from the vision I had conjured when I pondered upon his family. There I stood in the doorway, caught in a moment of uncertainty, pondering my next move. What I had meticulously crafted was unraveling before my very eyes. The evening I had eagerly awaited was about to take an unexpected turn. Ah, but what options lay before me? How could I possibly send her away, right? I found myself caught off guard, truly unprepared for your presence. I managed to utter, grappling with my thoughts. It seems I mistook you for another, didn't I? With a quizzical lift of her brow, she expressed her intrigue. Another person? Who might that be? The tension hung in the air, thick and palpable, as the moment stretched on between us. I found myself unable to simply reveal that I had been anticipating the arrival of a visitor from a service, someone meant to grace my presence for the evening. This would only deepen the troubles that were already unfolding. I found myself in a moment where quick thinking was essential. "Oh, it's nothing," I replied, mustering a smile. "Ah, what a day it has been, stretching on like an endless tale. Would you care to step inside for a moment?" Well, I wasn't anticipating any visitors, but I suppose we can share a few words together. Sophia cast her gaze upon me, her face a canvas of mystery, leaving me to ponder her thoughts. With a subtle nod, she moved gracefully past me and entered the apartment, her confidence unwavering. "Gratitude flows from me to you, Lucas. It was a pleasure to see you again," she remarked, her voice carrying a politeness laced with a warmth that wrapped around like a cozy blanket. As I gently shut the door behind her, a fog of confusion enveloped me, leaving me uncertain about the path ahead. As she entered the living room, an undeniable sense washed over me, as if the very fabric of reality had shifted in that moment. I extended an invitation for her to sit, striving to maintain my composure in the face of this unforeseen twist in our tale. The rhythm of my heart echoed in my chest, yet I masked it well, refusing to reveal my inner turmoil. "Not at this moment, it seems. Would you care for a refreshing drink?" I inquired, seeking to restore a semblance of normalcy. "Gather round, my friend. I can brew a delightful cup of coffee, or if your heart desires something a bit more spirited, I have a fine bottle of wine waiting to be uncorked." Sophia let out a soft sigh, settling onto the couch with a graceful motion. "No, I appreciate it, but I'll pass. I shall not linger for too long. I thought I'd drop by to see how you're doing. It seems like ages since we last had the opportunity to share our thoughts, doesn't it?" I nodded, my mind weaving through the threads of confusion that surrounded me. The unexpected twist of fate caught me off guard. But this was not the tale I had spun for my evening. Yet there she sat, comfortably nestled on my couch, engaging in light banter as if the world around us had remained unchanged. For the next few moments, we engaged in light conversation. As I listened to her speak, my thoughts wandered away, drawn back to the anticipation of another presence, a figure I had envisioned, so unlike the one before me. The thought lingered in my mind, persistent and unyielding, yet I found myself unable to voice it. It felt like an uncomfortable dance, a peculiar moment suspended in time. The atmosphere crackled around us, heavy with unspoken words and a palpable tension that kept me on my toes. But then, a twist of fate unfolded. Sophia leaned in closer, her gaze firmly meeting mine. Her voice, once light and easy, took on a weightier tone, signaling a change in the atmosphere. "You know, Lucas," she began gently, "there's something I've been wanting to ask you." With a raised eyebrow, I found myself intrigued, unable to resist the pull of curiosity. What could she be yearning to inquire of me? "What tales are swirling in your thoughts?" I inquired with a hint of trepidation, uncertain of where this dialogue might lead us. After a brief pause, she gathered her thoughts and spoke once more, her voice softening slightly. "While you and Jake share a strong bond, it's not uncommon for friendships to navigate through a few twists and turns along the way. Have you ever sensed that perhaps you are navigating waters too deep for your own comfort?" As I stood there, I found myself momentarily stunned by the unexpected shift in her voice. "What are you trying to say?" With a heart full of curiosity, I inquired, my mind swirling in a haze of bewilderment. Sophia offered a subtle smile, her eyes glinting with understanding. "It seems to me that there's a shadow of truth lingering in your words, Lucas, and I can't shake the feeling that you're holding something back. There's a secret tucked away, isn't there? I believe the moment has come for you to share it with me." A shiver danced along my spine. Tonight's conversation took an unexpected turn, one I hadn't anticipated. What began as a light exchange of pleasantries took an unforeseen turn. Sophia's words hung in the air, a quiet caution that wrapped around us. I sensed the unspoken tension between us, despite the casual setting of the couch and the drinks we held in our hands. Her question caught me off guard, leaving me momentarily speechless. What could she possibly mean by concealing something? Before I could unravel my thoughts, she carried on with her words. Her tone shifted to a weightier note, causing a tightness to settle in my chest. "Lucas," she whispered, her tone soft and deliberate. "My purpose isn't to cast judgment upon you. Listen closely, for there's something important I must share with you. The tales we share this evening are ours alone, bound by the silence of trust. Do you grasp the concept?" As our gazes intertwined, I found myself nodding without a second thought. Her gaze held a certain magic, an allure that ensnared me, pulling me into a depth I couldn't resist. "I don't want anyone to know what I do," she added, her voice barely rising above a whisper. "It's not a tale I'm eager to share, but there are moments when one must take the necessary steps. Wouldn't you agree?" Surprise swept over me like a sudden gust of wind. What was she weaving into her words? It felt shrouded in mystery, yet I sensed she was delving into something beyond the ordinary conversations people typically have. Her words held a heavy significance, a hidden load she bore that she was determined to keep from the eyes of others. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing down on me as I contemplated my next move. "I'm not quite sure what you're getting at, but there's no need for concern. Your secret is safe with me." She nodded, a subtle smile playing on her lips, yet it seemed to linger just shy of her eyes. "Gratitude flows from my heart, Lucas. That holds great significance." The atmosphere shifted, a stillness enveloping the space, as though her revelation had woven an invisible thread that altered the very essence of our connection. The sound of my heartbeat echoed in my ears, a rhythmic reminder of the stillness that surrounded me, leaving me uncertain of how to shatter the quietude. Sophia seemed to be a shadow of her usual self. In that moment, she revealed a softness that was previously hidden from my view. She was more than simply Jake's mother. She carried within her the weight of her own battles, a narrative uniquely hers. After a lengthy pause, she reclined on the couch, her face easing into a gentler expression. "It seems I simply had to voice it into the air. This is something I keep to myself. Not even Jake, my friend. He remains unaware of the deeds I've undertaken." Though her voice was a whisper, the gravity of her words pressed heavily upon my heart. In that moment, I found myself at a loss for words. A flicker of curiosity stirred within me, urging me to inquire about her words, to delve deeper into the tale she was weaving. Yet a different part of me understood that this was her tale to tell, and it was not my place to intrude. In that moment, I found myself enveloped in silence, pondering the words that might follow. The initial awkwardness between us had begun to dissipate, giving way to a different kind of connection, a gentle, unspoken connection. Have you ever found yourself ensnared in a circumstance that seems impossible to break free from? She inquired, her voice a mere breath in the stillness. I tilted my head, pondering the true meaning behind her question. "I'm a bit unclear on your meaning." She gazed at me, her smile tinged with a hint of melancholy. "I believe you might not." "Ah, but in time, you shall. It is destined to happen." Though my heart yearned to delve deeper, to unravel the layers of her being, the words eluded me, dancing just out of reach. Once more, I found myself ensnared by her gaze, the gravity of our conversation lingering in the space that separated us. After what seemed like a long, drawn-out moment, she shifted the conversation to a different topic. "Share a tale with me, Lucas. What tales have unfolded in your life recently?" Though our conversations may be few, I find myself pondering your well-being often. A moment of uncertainty washed over me. There was an odd sensation in sharing my thoughts with her, yet the warmth in her gaze, the gentle way her eyes softened while she absorbed my words, beckoned me to reveal more, even as uncertainty lingered in my mind. "It has felt a bit unusual," I remarked, attempting to keep my tone light. "I've been navigating through a few things, it seems. Just a lighthearted tale." "Ah, the familiar routine, nothing out of the ordinary." I simply shrugged, choosing to leave the details unspoken. With a gentle nod, she wore a look of contemplation. "Ah, life certainly has its way of tossing unexpected surprises our way. Wouldn't you agree? Life has a way of unfolding beyond our grasp. At times, one must simply embrace the flow of life. For reasons I couldn't quite grasp, her words struck me with an intensity I hadn't anticipated. Perhaps it was the manner in which she expressed those words, as if they were drawn from the depths of her own journey. For a fleeting moment, we found ourselves in a shared silence, words dancing effortlessly between us, even though the whole situation felt oddly surreal. Being in the presence of Sophia had a soothing effect, a gentle balm that allowed me to momentarily set aside the tension and confusion that had accumulated before. We wove our conversation through a tapestry of topics, touching on our favorite things, the vast world beyond, and the enchanting enigmas of life. As our conversation flowed, it became increasingly clear just how many threads of similarity wove our lives together. In that moment, I glimpsed a part of her that was entirely new to me, a facet that transcended the role of Jake's mom. She was a person, much like myself, filled with dreams, fears, and a past that remained hidden from the world. Time slipped away from me, and when I finally glanced at the clock, I realized it was already late. Yet I found myself wishing that the evening could stretch on forever. Not quite there yet. With a hint of uncertainty, I asked, "Do you wish to continue our conversation?" "Well, I understand it's quite late, but if you're willing, I'm not quite sure what to say. This brings me joy." With a gentle smile, she radiated warmth. "I am as well. It feels like ages since I've engaged in a genuine exchange like this. It brings a sense of comfort to engage with someone who offers a listening ear without judgment or expectations." Words escaped me in that moment. I wished for her to know that there was no need for her to justify her feelings. My heart yearned to stand by her side, just as she had always stood by mine. And so, we wove the rest of the evening in a tapestry of quiet conversation, sharing thoughts on everything and nothing at all. For a fleeting moment, the oddities and uncertainties melted away, and I discovered a true delight in her presence. As the night unfolded, I came to understand that the unforeseen twists had woven our lives together in ways I had never anticipated. Sophia had transformed from merely being my best friend's mom into something much more significant. She was a soul with whom I had forged a profound connection, a presence that had, in some sense, transcended the role of a mere visitor in my abode. As the night drew to a close, she rose to depart, her demeanor remaining elegant even under the heaviness of their exchange. "Thank you for tonight, Lucas," she said, her smile brightening the room. It was quite lovely. That moment is etched in my memory forever. At that moment, I responded, a peculiar warmth blossoming within me. As she stepped through the threshold, an undeniable shift lingered in the air, leaving me with the haunting sense that our connection had transformed. Yet the specifics eluded me. That night, sleep eluded me. Thoughts swirled in my mind, a vivid replay of all that had transpired with Sophia. Questions swirled in my mind, repeating like a haunting refrain, each one echoing through the corridors of my thoughts. What led to this unfolding event? What was it that drew me to her so irresistibly? What could have prompted her to share her thoughts with me in such a way? It was more than mere words exchanged. It wasn't merely the act of sharing something personal, something so intimate with me that struck a chord. It was the way she gazed at me, her eyes piercing through the layers of my being. There was a bond between us that seemed to transcend explanation, a feeling that lingered in the air, palpable and profound. As I lay in bed, rest eluding me, the stillness of the house wrapped around me, deepening my sense of bewilderment. Each time I shut my eyes, her smile danced before me, her voice echoed in my ears, and the warmth of that night enveloped me once more. Yet it was not merely the soothing embrace of the evening that lingered in my thoughts. There lingered a sensation, an unvoiced connection that hinted at something profound between us. But what is the reason behind it all? What could be the reason behind these feelings I was experiencing? In the tale, she held the role of Jake's mother. She was a forbidden tale waiting to be told. As I pondered over it, a revelation dawned upon me. She was truly unlike anyone else. She was more than merely Jake's mother. She was a character with her own journey, her own battles, her own dreams. In that hushed space, she unveiled a fragment of her soul to me, a glimpse that remained hidden from all others. The urge to see her once more was undeniable. I sought to unravel the mysteries within, to grasp the true essence of what was unfolding between us. And in this moment, the time was ripe for something extraordinary. The following day, after a night filled with tossing and turning, I realized that the time had come for me to take action. Jake was heading out with his friends, and I could tell he wouldn't return for quite some time. This was my moment to shine. If I let it slip away, the mysteries dancing in my thoughts might forever remain unsolved. With a swift motion, I snatched my jacket, glanced at the clock, and stepped out of the house, my mind set and unwavering. Uncertainty lingered in my mind, yet the urge to see her was undeniable. I needed to have a conversation with her to unravel the events that transpired between us the previous night. The path ahead was set, and retreat was no longer an option. As I made my way to her place, the tension in my stomach grew ever more intense. What if I had been interpreting things incorrectly? What if her heart danced to a different tune? What if I stumbled into an awkward moment, unraveling it all? Yet despite the multitude of questions swirling in my mind, an undeniable sensation lingered. Something had changed, something that beckoned for attention. As I pulled up to her house, I lingered in the car for a moment, my gaze fixed on her front door. In that moment, a wave of nerves washed over me, uncertainty clouding my thoughts. Yet deep within, a flicker of conviction whispered that this was indeed the path I was meant to take. I found myself facing my emotions head-on, despite the discomfort it brought. At last I emerged from the car and approached the door, each step laden with a sense of eager expectation. With a gentle rap, I knocked once, then twice, and the door slowly creaked open, revealing the unknown beyond. There she stood, right before my eyes, as breathtaking as she had been the night prior. Yet a flicker of astonishment danced across her face upon catching sight of me. "Lucas," she whispered, her voice carrying a gentle uncertainty that mirrored my own. "What brings you to this place?" I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment as I pondered where to start. "Ah, my friend, I found myself in need of a conversation with you." Last night, she cast a glance my way, pausing as if weighing the decision to let me cross the threshold. At long last, after what seemed like an endless wait, she moved aside, allowing the door to swing open wider. "Step inside," she beckoned, her tone inviting yet tinged with care. Well, this visit caught me by surprise, but I guess we can have a chat. As I stepped inside, a whirlwind of thoughts danced through my mind. She welcomed me into the living room and we settled onto the couch together. A thick tension hung in the air, a stark contrast to the calm of the previous night. It felt like we were both wandering in a fog, uncertain of the ground beneath our feet and the space that lay between us. Last night left me in a whirlwind of emotions, I confessed, my voice quivering just a bit. In the blink of an eye, events unfolded, each moment carrying a unique essence. It seems so vivid, and I can't quite tell if I'm just lost in my thoughts or if you experience that too. She fell into a thoughtful silence, her eyes wandering far away, as if weighing the depths of what she might choose to share. At last she found her voice, steady yet rich with feeling. "Lucas, I can't ignore the significance of what transpired last night," she said with a measured tone. "But there's something you must grasp. Throughout my many years, I've walked a winding path, filled with decisions that weigh heavy on my heart. I've walked a winding path filled with missteps that have carved out my identity, and I wish to spare others from that journey. I lean in a bit, my heart racing, yet I stand apart from the crowd. My intention is not to pass judgment, Sophia. Rather, I seek to comprehend your perspective. And last night, it seemed as though our souls intertwined. It was as if you were letting me into your world, revealing something genuine." Her gaze warmed as it met mine. "Ah, Lucas, it's a bit more complex than that. I've journeyed through experiences that may seem foreign to you, moments that I carry with a sense of regret, and I wish for no one to believe that I'm seeking anything beyond this, for that is not the case. Yet during our conversation last night, there was an unmistakable shift in the air. It was as if the weight of the world had lifted, allowing me to draw in the fresh air of freedom for the very first time in ages. Her vulnerability was palpable, revealing itself to me with a clarity I hadn't noticed before. It transcended her profession and the decisions that had shaped her path. Once upon a time, there existed a wall, a formidable barrier she had constructed around her very being. The barrier she allowed me to glimpse, if only for a fleeting instant. "I don't want to make things more complicated than they already are," she continued, her voice a soft murmur, as if sharing a secret with the wind. Yet the reality is, I find myself at a loss for how to take the next step as well. The silence was thick with unvoiced thoughts, a palpable tension filled with uncertainty and trepidation. Yet there lingered another sensation, a whisper of possibility, a fissure in the fortress she had constructed. "Perhaps it's not necessary to unravel everything at this very moment," I remarked, my tone calm, even as a tempest of feelings swirled within me. "Perhaps we should embrace the journey, moving forward one step at a time." With a deliberate nod, she held my gaze, unwavering and intent. With each step taken, a fleeting sense of harmony enveloped the moment. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, allowing us to explore the uncharted territory of our connection without any urgency or expectation. In a world where connections often feel fleeting, we found ourselves as two souls intertwined by a genuine bond, a truth that stood strong and was more than sufficient for the moment. As the sunlight danced through the curtains, it painted the room with a warm, gentle glow, inviting all to bask in its embrace. As the morning light crept in, I stirred from my slumber, my mind a tangled web of memories, struggling to unravel the mysteries of the night that had just passed. The bed enveloped me in its warmth, a soothing embrace, yet beneath that comfort lingered an unshakable tension that whispered of something more. As I shifted my position, my gaze fell upon her, resting peacefully beside me. In the gentle embrace of slumber, her features appeared tender and her hair danced in delightful disarray. In an instant, reality seemed to blur, as if the very fabric of existence had transformed overnight. A smile crept onto my face, even as I grappled with the uncertainty of what had just unfolded between us. Yet as the recollection surged forth, a tightness gripped my psyche. This was not merely a fleeting moment. What transpired between us held significance, at least in my heart. Yet would her heart echo the same sentiment? With great care, I made my way to a seated position, gently running my fingers through my hair, mindful not to disrupt her peace. It was hard to fathom that I found myself in such a predicament. How had we journeyed from that heartfelt exchange, that profound bond, to this moment? Yet beyond all else, I yearned to uncover her thoughts. What emotions stirred within her? She stirred beside me, her eyelids fluttering open like the petals of a flower greeting the dawn. In that fleeting moment, our eyes locked and silence enveloped us like a gentle shroud. In that fleeting moment, time appeared to freeze, and within that silence, we both grasped that we stood at a crossroads. She rose to a sitting position, her face a canvas of mystery. "Lucas," she whispered softly, her voice heavy with feeling. "Last night, something remarkable happened. It was as if the universe conspired to make me feel completely seen and understood in a way I had never experienced before. And I wish for you to understand that this was not merely a blunder." I took a deep breath, a wave of hope washing over me, intertwined with a hint of unease. "I believe it was not a mistake," I responded, my voice unwavering. "Yet I find myself yearning to uncover the path that lies ahead of us. I hope we can keep things comfortable between us." With a gaze fixed on her hands, she nervously toyed with the edge of the blanket. "I'm scared, Lucas," she confessed, her voice trembling like a fragile leaf in the wind. "Life has taken me on a winding journey, and along the way I've constructed barriers to protect my heart. Once I found myself in a place where vulnerability was a heavy cloak I never wished to wear again. Yet last night unfolded in a way that felt unlike any other, and I find myself trembling at the thought that this sensation might merely be a fleeting whisper in time." In her eyes, I glimpsed a rare vulnerability, a fragile glimpse of her soul that she seldom revealed to anyone, especially not to me. It stirred a deep ache within my heart. She was a force of nature, a beacon of resilience and self-reliance. She was a warrior of her own making, having faced countless trials. And now, after all this time, she was finally opening her heart to the possibility of feeling once more. I extended my hand, softly brushing against her arm. "There's no need for fear," I whispered gently. "I'm here to stay, but I ask for your honesty in return. What brings us to this moment?" for I can no longer feign that the events of last night were devoid of significance. Her gaze locked onto mine, and in that suspended moment, silence enveloped us both. The quiet lingered in the air, heavy with thoughts left unsaid. At last, she found her voice, quivering with emotion. There have been times in my life when I poured my heart and soul into relationships, only to find myself feeling hollow in the aftermath. Yet with you, Lucas, it feels unique. I'm not quite sure if I'm prepared to plunge into something deep just yet, but I can't overlook the bond we share, and it's important for you to grasp that. I nodded slowly, feeling the rhythm of my heart echoing in my chest. I hear you, and I share those sentiments, yet I also believe in taking our time with this journey. We've journeyed through many trials together, and my intention is not to add to the burdens we already carry. Her lips curled into a subtle smile, yet a hint of melancholy lingered in her eyes. Lucas, I wish to keep things simple, yet I can't ignore the feelings that are stirring within me for you. Well, you see, it's a bit of a puzzle for me, and I'm not quite sure how to navigate through it. The air was thick with tension, yet beneath it lay an undeniable clarity, a dawning awareness that we had both ventured into unknown realms. It was a surprise to both of us, yet the undeniable attraction lingered in the air, weaving its magic around us. With a steadying breath, I leaned in and gently grasped her hand. "We'll find a way," I declared, my tone steady but soothing. With each careful step, she tightened her grip on my hand, her gaze firmly meeting mine. With a gentle whisper, she reminded herself, one step at a time. In that fleeting moment, we lingered, hands intertwined, as if the chaos of the world beyond had faded into oblivion. Silence enveloped the moment, a heavy blanket of unspoken thoughts. It was clear to us that returning to the past was not an option. The door swung wide, and once it was ajar, there was no closing it evermore. Yet within the haze of uncertainty, there lay a certain warmth that wrapped around the heart. We were still searching for the answers. We were uncertain of the path that lay ahead. Yet for the first time in ages, we found ourselves in each other's company, and that simple connection was more than enough. With a gentle rise from the bed, she reached for her robe, each movement flowing with grace and intention. "I believe we both require a moment to reflect on the events that transpired," she murmured softly. "Yet I hope you don't perceive this as a misstep. It certainly was not. I simply seek to grasp its meaning." I gave a knowing nod, recognizing her desire for a little distance. "I understand. There's no need to unravel every mystery at this very moment." As she strolled toward the door, she halted for a moment, casting a glance back at me, a subtle smile playing at the edges of her lips. "I appreciate your understanding and patience with me." I returned the smile, yet my heart continued to race with excitement. "I'm here to stay, and I'll take my time with you. Together we shall unravel this mystery." With a gentle nod, she departed, and I found myself enveloped in the solitude of my own reflections. As I lingered in that moment, a thought began to take shape. Perhaps this was merely the dawn of a new chapter, a tale worth the anticipation. For the first time in what seemed like ages, a spark of hope flickered within me, illuminating the path ahead. The days that followed that morning seemed to linger, as if caught in a timeless embrace. Every moment shared with her felt like it was unfolding in slow motion, as if we were both relishing the blossoming bond, while remaining wary of its implications. In the silence that lingered, a shared awareness blossomed, as we both found ourselves charting a course through uncharted seas. Yet as the moments unfolded between us, it became increasingly evident that there was no desire within me to retreat. The emotions coursed through me, undeniable and vivid. Whenever we found ourselves in each other's company, an unmistakable spark ignited, transcending mere physical attraction. It felt as though we were two pieces of a grand puzzle, at long last discovering where we belonged after all this time. Yet despite the sense of certainty that enveloped us, I understood the importance of savoring each moment as we journeyed forward. We each carried our own burdens, and diving headfirst into something wasn't the solution. In that moment, I chose to grant her the space she sought, despite the challenge it posed to my heart. There were times when the urge to reach for the phone and share my longing for her was almost overwhelming. Yet deep down, I understood the importance of allowing events to take their course. We had woven together countless tales, yet a wealth of unspoken words lingered in the air, waiting for their moment to shine, and I wished to savor every moment of it. On a sun-drenched afternoon, I strolled along the street, my mind swirling with memories of her. Days had slipped by since our last conversation, and while I honored her desire for distance, the heaviness of the silence lingered, pressing down on my heart. I found myself wondering if she still held me in her thoughts, if her heart echoed the feelings I carried within me. There I stood, caught in a web of uncertainty, pondering whether the time had come to cross her threshold once more. Yet today, a stirring within me urged me to take action. With every step I took toward her place, my heart raced, each footfall drawing me nearer to the mysteries that awaited. Uncertainty swirled in my mind, yet a sense of urgency propelled me forward. I realized the time for hesitation had passed. As I stood before her door, a moment of hesitation washed over me. Should I make my presence known with a knock, or bide my time and let her come to me? The weight of uncertainty gnawed at my insides, yet I steadied myself, inhaled deeply, and rapped my knuckles against the door. A few moments later, the door creaked open, and there she stood before me, a vision that seemed to pause time itself. As her gaze met mine, a gentle warmth spread across her features, and an involuntary smile graced my lips. Her presence wrapped around me like a warm blanket, soothing the chaos and making the world feel whole once more. "Lucas," she exclaimed, her voice a blend of astonishment and affection. "What brings you to this place?" You lingered in my thoughts, an unshakable presence that captivated my mind. I confessed, my voice unwavering yet brimming with feeling. All I longed for was to catch a glimpse of you. I felt the urgency to grasp our position before time whisked it away. With a graceful motion, she stepped aside, inviting me to enter. "It brings me joy to see you here." Her voice was gentle as she confessed, "I've been thinking about you too." I stepped inside, the atmosphere thick with the weight of unexpressed thoughts. A palpable tension hung in the air, yet it carried with it a curious sense of comfort. It was as if the air was thick with expectation, a shared sense of longing hanging between us. Both of us poised for that perfect moment to unveil the emotions we had kept hidden. As we settled onto the couch, the space that once separated us began to fade away moment by moment. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, and the world around us faded away, leaving just the two of us, quietly recognizing the bond that had blossomed between us. She started, her voice quivering just a bit. "I've been pondering. Though fear lingers in the air for both of us, I can't turn a blind eye to the unfolding moments between us. I refuse to allow fear to stand in the way of something that resonates deeply within me." I extended my hand, gently grasping hers. "I share your sentiments, yet I understand that there's no need for haste in our decisions. Let us meander through this journey, discovering the path as we wander along. Time stretches endlessly before us." With a gentle smile, her eyes glimmered with warmth. "Indeed, there's no need to hurry, yet I yearn to unveil the emotions that have long been concealed within me. In all my days, I've never experienced such feelings for another soul, and I refuse to turn a blind eye to what's unfolding." I clasped her hand tightly, a wave of feeling surging within me. "I feel the same way. Though the answers may elude us at this moment, there is one certainty that stands tall in my heart. Your well-being matters to me, and I'm eager to discover the journey that lies ahead." The silence stretched on, yet it held no discomfort. In that moment, the silence enveloped us, rich with the unspoken bond forged through our shared experiences. In that moment, it was as if we finally shared a common understanding. We didn't have to have all the pieces in place. It was essential for us to lay our cards on the table with one another. "It seems we both faced our share of trials," she murmured softly. "Perhaps that's the reason this experience carries such weight. Yet I find myself no longer wishing to flee from it." I leaned in a bit closer, my voice soft and inviting. "I feel the same way. Let us embark on this journey, moving forward one step at a time." She nodded, her gaze probing into mine, as if seeking a glimmer of reassurance. In her eyes, I glimpsed a world of vulnerability. Yet within that, there lay a strength, a steadfast determination. She had transformed into someone entirely different from the person I had encountered all those months back. And I wasn't either. "I believe that's all we can do," she murmured gently. With each step, a journey unfolds. We lingered for a moment, hands intertwined, each of us soaking in the gravity of the words exchanged between us. There were no sweeping proclamations. There are no guarantees of eternity. It was the realization that a genuine connection had taken root between us. And so, we both embraced the journey ahead, eager to discover what it might unfold. As I departed from her abode that afternoon, a tranquil feeling enveloped me. Though I lacked all the answers, a comforting certainty settled within me. Whatever lay ahead, I would not be navigating it in solitude. And for the first time in ages, that felt like it was truly enough.